Hello! This is Kiana, and welcome to the 20-year reunion of The Truman Show. I'm pleased to be here today with the creator of the iconic Truman Show, Christoph, and Truman Burbank himself. This is a monumental day in the life of millions of fans of The Truman Show that was a hit 20 years ago. This is the first time since that Christoph and Truman have agreed to come and talk about the controversies and their experiences with The Truman Show. Thank you so very much, gentlemen, for coming today.
Oh, of course. Happy to be here.
Sure. So, Truman, what was the first thing you did when you discovered your entire life was a lie?
Well, Kiana, the first thing I did after discovering The Truman Show was finding Sylvia. Fans of The Truman Show will remember her. However, things didn't work out.
Can you expand on that, Truman?
Well, we dated for a while, but our realities were just too different and we couldn't stay together.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Christoph, do you feel responsible for this?
Not really. The reality we created for Truman was better than the reality of the outside world. We would not have allowed Truman to get hurt like this in the world we made for him. Clearly, you, Truman, are not as happy in the outside world as you were living in The Truman Show.
I'm hearing what you're saying, Christoph, but who are you to decide what reality others get to live?
Well,
Yeah, Christoph, who are you to decide?
Calm down, Truman. Christoph, you were saying?
Truman still lived a normal life. He went to school, he got married, had a career, and he even had a family.
A family of actors?
Okay, continuing on. Have you guys ever heard Plato's story of the cave?
I'm not aware of the story.
No, because my reality was faked.
Okay, I'll give you a brief summary because your situation, Truman, reminds me greatly of the one represented in the story. There were 3 prisoners chained in a cave, forced to face the wall. There was a fire in the cave behind them that cast shadows onto the wall. The prisoners believed that these shadows were real because this was all they could see. This was their sense of reality.
Huh, sounds familiar.
Until one day, one of the prisoners was set free and got to explore the world beyond the cave of shadows. When he came back to tell the other prisoners that the shadows were not reality and there was so much more outside the cave, the other prisoners became upset and did not believe him because they accepted the reality which they were presented. Truman, when you left The Truman Show, did you feel like the first prisoner, eager to learn about the outside world and the real reality, or were you afraid and in denial like the other 2?
At first, I was nervous to walk out of my reality because I didn't know what would be outside.
Well, it couldn't have been that different. The reality I created for you was similar to real life. Why do you think the audience related to you in your world so much?
You'd be surprised how different it was, Christoph. There were so many things in the real world that I was never exposed to in The Truman Show. The cave story does not apply to the real world.
Really? Are you sure? Your cave may have been extreme, but many people have their own version of the cave. More parents today than ever are shielding their children from violence and monitoring what they are exposed to on TV and social media.
Exactly. And being a professional in the media world, I know better than anyone how we can shape and present information in ways that alter how the audience may interpret information. As Neil Postman declared in his book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, that, and I quote, "Most of our daily news is inert, consisting of information that gives us something to talk about, but cannot lead to any meaningful action." This prime example shows how modern news and media can dictate information which causes the audience to react in certain ways, and in this case, not at all.
For any parents or news professionals listening, stop shielding your children or audiences. It's so important for individuals to experience the real world for themselves. It's so hard to adjust when you find out that your sense of reality is fake. No one should have to go through this like I did.
Sounds like a great time for a caller. Hello, caller 168. You're on live with the 20-year reunion of The Truman Show. Who's calling?
This is Annie.
Hello, Annie. What are your thoughts on The Truman Show?
I missed The Truman Show. I loved watching it while enjoying my tea and crumpets after a long day on the job. I think Truman should be grateful for having the opportunity to live in a world without crime or violence. I would love to be able to live in perfect Sea Haven Island. On the news the other day, my local TV station, BBC, had a segment on the recent school shooting in Santa Fe, Texas. 8 students and 2 teachers were killed. This would have never happened in the show where Truman got to grow up. That's what I've been saying.
I still experience tragedies in the Truman Show. Like when my fake father died, I was heartbroken. I wasn't able to even go near the water for decades after. Even though this tragedy was staged, it definitely felt real.
We only did that to protect you and shield you from leaving and experiencing even more tragedies beyond the walls of Sea Haven Island.
No, you kept me in there for your own motives of keeping ratings high.
I still agree with Kristoff on this one. Life in Sea Haven was near perfect for you, Truman. You were looked after by hundreds of actors. Yes, they were fake, but you were cared and adored for, and you should be bloody grateful for that to had even been your reality.
Okay, thank you, Annie, for your input. Now, in an attempt for give and forget, we're going to play a game in which Truman pretends to be in Kristoff's shoes, and Kristoff, you will be in Truman's. Kristoff, you can start.
Okay. Hello, my name is Truman. I was lucky enough to be adopted by an amazing company and such a talented director when my parents didn't want me. I thrived in a fake reality in which I was loved and cared for by many, with only one tragic event to ever occur in my life. I had a family, loyal friends, and a great job. If I didn't find out the truth about my life, I would have been a father. On top of that, I was a world-class star, beloved by many all around the world, and I didn't even have to work for it. Everything in my life was given to me.
That is one way of putting it. Truman, now it's your turn.
Hi, my name is Kristoff, and I'm a manipulative. I took an innocent child, practically kidnapped, and placed him into a prison that many of you know as Sea Haven Island. No one truly loved or cared for him. It was all an act. We videotaped his entire life and broadcasted it to the whole world, even the parts he did not want viewers to see. I tried my hardest to keep him in there, even tried to drown him. But that Truman is just so dang smart that he got himself out.
Well, that didn't go as planned.
I thought it went pretty well.
I guess no wounds were healed, but the fans of the beloved Truman Show got what they wanted for 20 years. Thank you so very much for listening, and a huge thanks to Kristoff and Truman for this. Special time. Tune in next week for an exclusive interview with the cast of Friends for their 14-year reunion. Thanks again, folks, and if I don't see you, have a good afternoon, good evening, and...
Shut up!